accountability, and then I would definitely say our mindset of um, pushing through because we get lazy. At least I know I do. I get lazy. In the first minute, I feel, not first second, I feel a little pain on the treadmill or whatever. I want to quit. I mean, I just really want to quit. And sometimes I give in to myself. And I think you're saying we push beyond that. And
Right.
the only way we're going to get further down the road is if we continually push ourselves just a little bit harder, a little bit more. And when we have those feelings of quit, say, no, I said I was going to do this. I'm going to do it for this length of time. I just heard somebody talk about that the other day. I said I was going to do this, and I'm going to do it. And the greatest thing is when we complete whatever we had to push through, we look back, and what do we feel? A sense of accomplishment.
Right.
Yeah. And what happens is if we don't accomplish that and we look back with regret. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm always reminded when I go to the gym, I never want to get there. I just go, like the alarm rings, and I'm going, oh, I'm dragging myself to the gym, but never once do I say when I finish the gym. Never once do I say, oh, I'm so sorry I spent the half hour or the hour doing that. I usually go, especially if I'm training with somebody, and then I have that accountability piece there. I go and I say, wow, I feel fantastic. Have you experienced that too when you push through? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's important to also use that. But I think also too, people they start, what another thing that our mind does is very tricky, that mind of ours. It makes it seem insurmountable, like, oh, I'm too tired, I can't go, and I'm going to, just like, I can't do it. And we blow it up. I mean, I can sit and look at a pile of papers and think it's going to take 5 hours to do. And if I actually time it, it takes like 10 minutes. And so I think it's really important to understand how delusional and illusional our mind can be, and then just say, no, I'm going to just do what's the next step, set the timer, and I'm going to do it, right? And just to get over that sort of hurdle and hump of wanting to quit. I don't really know why, and it's that whole Newton's law of motion, right? If you can get in motion, you'll stay in motion. But if you stop, it's okay to stop and rest, but you got to keep going. And the thing I don't think people realize is quitting, the first time you quit is going to be the hardest time you quit. So let that sink in for a minute. You want to be careful on how many times you're going to quit, because it always gets easier. The first time is the hardest time. And that's a guaranteed thing right there. So we want to be super careful, even with our kids and the things that we're doing, because it just always gets easier no matter what. And it's an odd thing about it.
I think it gets easier because somehow we've crossed that hurdle, and now we can justify it. Well, I quit once. Now I can, and we're so willing to quit on ourselves, and it takes so much more. I think the discipline and the accountability, but I think in our mind, we have to set our mind and make up our mind that we're going to do this. And like Loretta says, the hardest time when you quit is the first time, and then it gets so easy because then we almost become a quitter. I don't need to do that, and we get identified as a quitter. So how can we bolster up? It's in the mind. What are some other tricks we can do, especially with our mind? I think that's important. I like the fact that you said that sometimes you look at all those bills and you're overwhelmed, and I do that too. Oh, that's going to take me 2 or 3 hours, so I'm not even going to start. But actually, in reality, when I sit down, I'm going, oh, that was amazing. And then your energy is replenished because you've accomplished it instead of your energy being zapped because you have it to do. But that's an amazing point that you made there.
Yeah, and I think, speaking of energy, though, I mean, that's probably one of my top 10 things to quit proof is, like, you want to make sure your energy's sacred. And so whether we're talking about going through grief or we're talking about anything that we're trying to do, your energy has to be sacred. And that means you got to I know, it's crazy. You got to get enough sleep. You got to feed yourself well. And you got to, you've got to practice your perspective. And we talked about that the last time about the gratitude list. It's really important to keep things into perspective and keep control of your mind. And so to safeguard those and to have daily practices, you'll be better off in the long run with any project that you're trying to do or anything that you're trying to accomplish or get through, is if you can, know that your energy is sacred. And, one of the things that we always try to do is to stay away from being hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, right? But that's called HALT. And you want to stay away from that at all costs because it will drain your energy and make everything more difficult. So when you're trying to do something hard, you want to have good energy and a positive attitude, obviously, are like huge. So when you said energy, that was right on there.
Right, and then your decision making is so much better because you're not exhausted. That's great. Now, Loretta, we're almost out of time again. So tell me a little bit about how the audience, tell the audience how they can get a hold of you, and that would be great. Perfect.
Okay, if you go to my website, it's lorettabrooks.com. And if you go to the Contact Me page, I would love to offer you a free 60-minute strategy session to, we can talk more about this, set up a strategy and a plan. We'll talk a little bit about what your strengths are, how to customize what we've been talking about. But you just put in the contact, fill out your information, and just let me know that you heard me on Lorraine's show, and we'll set something up and have a quick strategy session and see how we can help you to get moving on something you might have left behind or something you're struggling with. I'd love to help you.
Well, thank you, Loretta. That's wonderful. That's a 60-minute call with Loretta, and believe you me, I know she's a lot of fun, and you'll have some laughs, but you'll leave with some positive things to implement in your life so that you too can become a non-quitter. You're not going to quit anymore. So I would take her up on that. And like I said, she's a lot of fun. And I've learned a lot from just even observing Loretta and all that she's gone through. She's an amazing woman.
Thank you.
If you have any questions on my show or about Loretta, don't hesitate to call me, or you can actually find me on my website at LorraineHovey.com. And here you will find Loretta and I collaborated together, and we have a book called Life Boost. There's 13 of us that have written chapters in this book, and Loretta happens to be one also. And you can go to my website and download my free chapter on there, and I'd love you to hear my story. So in closing, I'd like to ask one more question. What is a legacy, Loretta, that you would like to leave behind? How do you want to be remembered by your family and friends? Friends. Not just friends,
Lorraine,
but friends.
Yes, some good ones. I would like to leave, again, a legacy that it's important, to not always be so agreeable with what everybody wants you to do and to be like, to fit out, to have the courage to fit out, and you can still have fun, and two things that I would say, the legacy that people would have the courage to, be themselves, have fun, and fit out.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you, Loretta, for being here today and last week. You've been a wonderful guest. And remember out there, it is never too late. It's never too late to lose weight, to go after your dreams, to work on your gratitudes, to improve your mindset. And it's never too late to stop being a quitter and start being a finisher. That's what we want you to start being a finisher. It is just never too late ever. We'll see you back here next week. And bye, Loretta. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, Lorraine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.